I can remember. 11 over 30.
Oh, okay. You need to show up for 5 minutes. Oh, okay. Yeah, 10 minutes. Maybe you probably could have done one of them in 10 minutes, but okay, so
For 3. I got 11 over 30.
Actually, it shows. My word shows.
okay, so funny work would be very easy to follow.
Oh, no, today. I think I'm seeing it as 6 to like, I have no idea. I don't know, is that just like, I think
4 times 4 is 16.
it's like a brewery or like conviction place. It's like, I have no clue what it is. Oh, really? I don't know. Before. Oh, it's like,
I just ate.
Yeah, it's just basically the intro video is me going over what are these.
What's it?
No, it's all done. So you do it through Edpuzzle. You're signed up for it. So like there's an Edpuzzle like link at the school team, and you click on that, make sure you're logged in, you take the video, and then I have an icon on the back end to see if you did it.
I don't know.
So on the video itself, at the end, there's usually like a question to check your understanding, like nostril, see how that went. So you get to take a moment through the question, answer the question.
It was like really short notice, like my voice was like studying my
Yeah, it literally was 3 minutes.
So I was like, sure.
So assuming you go answer
And
the
then
question, show me your part. One question, right?
It like
Yeah, what was
looks like it's all hairy and there's this huge like split.
Everyone's like 5. Look at hair right here.
Okay. You had to translate. I don't have to do translating, I just have their specifics.
Yeah, but
Are you like?
All right, let's take a look at some answers here. So I'll just give you some answers, and again, leave it up to you to advocate for yourself if you want to talk about anything. I believe the answers for these are number 1 should be -9. I believe number 2 is 6. I think the last one is 11/30ths. Those 3 answers right there. Oh my goodness! Thank you very much. There we go. So if you remember, tomorrow is going to be a couple of quizzes like we had last Friday. We're going to have a DMR quiz over these same 3 types of questions right here. Be exactly the same, really. And then we'll have our concept quiz on fraction work. So I feel like number 3 has been a nice review this week, thinking about fractions, adding, subtracting fractions. So anyways, in light of the fact that you've got a DMR set up for tomorrow over these things, is there anything you'd like to talk about? Are you feeling confident? Yeah. Like what if I just gave you the pop quiz right now? Would you get 100%? Hope you would. I'm not going to give you a pop quiz right now, but if I did, would you do okay? I hope you would. You would just maybe another moment here? Ask a question. Okay, fair enough. So flip over, and we're going to do some work in translating today. Here's the material that goes there was material that went with the intro video. I guess that's still in no, it's back here. There we go. There's the intro video material. Basically just working on translating, and that's what we're going to be working on here today. So before you just race off, I want you to understand something really important about this. Some of you might know other languages besides English. I learned a little bit of Spanish in the past, and I think we all know a couple of phrases here, a couple of words there in various languages. The truth is, if you all, myself included, got just like dropped off in India or Russia or Angola or Italy, some other country, odds are pretty good we need like Google Translate or some help, right? Because we'd be walking around speaking English. Does anybody speak English? Can anybody tell me where the restaurant is? Where's the bathroom? Where can I go to rent a car? Where's the hotel? You'd be lost, right? Listen, you would be hopelessly lost. Maybe Google Translate could help you, right? But you'd need a lot of help with this translating thing. Something kind of cool. If you went to one of those countries, Angola, Russia, Italy, India, Pakistan, wherever, and you started writing stuff like this. Now I'll just write it on the screen. If you started writing things like this, 2/3 times 1/5 plus 7/30, everyone would understand. There would be no language barrier whatsoever. If you wrote 5x plus 9 equals 32, the kids your age in Pakistan or Russia or India or wherever, they would understand exactly what you're writing. There would be very little. And I know this for a fact. I happen to be an AP calculus reader, so I grade AP tests from all over the world. And I get tests from China, Singapore, India, wherever, you name it. And guess what? I can totally read their writing, their math. Sometimes they write these foreign words that I don't really know what they mean, but I can absolutely keep up with their math. Even though we speak completely different languages, we both speak math. Isn't that lovely? It's kind of a universal language. So really, honestly,
Oh my God, that's what I was going to say.
universal language?
Oh, international.
International, for sure. So we could go to just about any country and start writing math, and there might be a few little details we got to clean up, but for the most part, we're all going to understand each other. Kind of a cool thing. So I think you could say safely that math is really a technical language. It really is. It's a way of communicating things about numbers and quantities and relationships between these things. And so just the way that you would translate Spanish to English, like if I said verde, you would say green. Right? If I said coche, you would say car. Some of you know that, right? So just the same way in math, there is an English equivalent to certain math symbols. And there is an English equivalent to other math symbols, right? They can be translated from one to the other. And that's all this is about. So this is where you can get a little more real world than some of the things that we often do in math. And so I would like to practice these and see how you all do. I've got a couple different sets. I think I've got 3 sets here. I've got a lot of these. There's a ton of them. And the reason why there's a ton of them, and we'll take as much time as we need. If we don't get through all of them, I'm okay with that. Let's take as much time as we need where you ask the question, well, wait a minute, I thought it was this, and you wrote that. Why? Right? I mean, I for one, would be super fearful of trying to learn like Japanese or Chinese, one of those pictograph languages. Because I feel like if one of your little symbols does this, you just went from saying something nice to insulting someone's mother. Right? It could make a huge difference. So sometimes in math, one little detail can make a big difference. So I want you to work on these. I want you to practice with these. I want you to do practice 1, and you might be good at this. You might be medium at this. You don't need to solve anything. I only want you to translate. Please don't feel like you need to evaluate anything, solve anything. I only want you to take the stuff that's written up there and practice 1, and I want you to translate it from English into math. You're on the intro video part of it.
Yes, they do.
So keep rolling. So we are, this is our DMR.
This is
This one's our
wrong.
intro video. And this is what we're going to do as practice.
You're making me do math.
Okay, so we're translating, we're comparing, we're talking this over. Number 1, the sum of x and 9 is 12, so on and so forth. And I'll just kind of go around and let you guys do some writing if you think you know some answers. So no solving of anything. I would absolutely mark 1 incorrect.
Wait, what about this?
Thank you.
You haven't translated anything. That I would mark correct. Because you've correctly translated it. Well done. Well done. Let's see here. Caroline, what's up?
Just right so I don't keep doing
So, you're just wanting like my opinions on all of these?
Yeah.
Have you asked your classmates?
I asked on the first one.
And what'd they say?
Well, we agreed on the first one.
And you should all agree on the first one, because that's right.
Second one.
So the second one, what did you
Would
think?
it be this, but like the little squiggly line since it says at least?
Oh, interesting. So you guys, I mean, really, you guys agree on, because what Caroline wrote here is the same as what you wrote, right? Obviously, the 25 is the same, so it comes down to this relator. That's what you guys are questioning.
Yeah.
And I will say it's not squiggly.
Okay. So just
Yeah, we need to get into the inequality stuff, right? So if I told you, if I said, if you're going to work for me and I said, I'll pay you at least $20, I'll pay you at least $20, what would be an example of some sums that I might pay you?
26.
Or
27.
numbers bigger than 20, right? So if I tell you that something is at least 25, then you need to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Go.
Oh, so then it would be like that thing?
Yeah, but you're not quite there. It's going the wrong direction. Because I want numbers that are at least 25. I want numbers that are bigger than 25. No, that's the wrong direction.
Oh, the
You're that means, what that symbol means right there is less than. This is really close. If I told you at least 25, doesn't that mean 25 is still okay?
Yes.
So have you ever seen the or equal to? Yeah, the line under it. Now we're talking. No, this would replace that. If you write equals, you're telling me that these two things are always the same value.
Like this.
So if you tell me that, you're telling me that this is always bigger than that. And the thing that I was just talking with Ellie about, if I told you that something had to be at least 25, would 25 still be okay? Like, think about what that means. So you put the little line underneath there to indicate that 11 divided by y could be 25, or it could be bigger than 25. That's what at least means, right?
Okay.
So what I would encourage you to do is try to think about a lot of these words, try to think about them in terms of what they actually mean. I know it's tempting in a math class to be like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to translate this, but if I told you at least, you'd be like, well, I know what at least means. You know, if I said, hey, I'm going to at least pay you 25 bucks and then I paid you 14, you're going to say, no, you said at least 25.
Yeah.
So you know what those words mean. Just try to like work them into a math symbol, and we need to work on the symbolization
And
for
then
sure.
for the next one, since product isn't multiply, but then
Product
if you
is
decrease
multiply.
it, like if it decreases by 8, does that mean you're dividing?
Nope, decreased by. If I said,
Minus.
there you
So
go.
it'd be
There you
7 times b minus 8.
There you go. I'm going to keep circulating around the room. I got a few other questions. You guys are on the right track. And listen, some of them you're going to nail, some of you are going to be off by a little bit. We'll fix those. We'll definitely fix those. Yes, ma'am.
I'm confused on number 4 and 5.
Okay. The difference. So what does difference mean?
Subtract.
So if I were you, I would just put like a minus sign. I'm going to be subtracting two things. The difference of what? So I'm going to be doing a product. So the first thing that goes here is going to be something times something. What two?
Wouldn't it be y times 4 times?
No, careful. So it says, you took that a little bit too far. So it says the difference of the product of y and 4
Okay.
and 1. So the product is just y and 4. And product you said means what?
Multiplication, so then
Right.
it would be y times 4
And then we are...
minus 1.
There you go.
Okay, so then this would be x plus 7
Well,
times.
no, it starts off with the product of. So in math, I want you to think this through. Like if we're just reading an expression that we're evaluating, we never read from left to right. Right? We follow PEMDAS.
Yeah.
This is an English sentence, and in English, we always go from left to right. So I wouldn't start off by like doing something with this and coming over here and do that. I would start here and I would read from left to right. The product of. What does product mean?
Multiplication.
So I'd put a dot. And what am I multiplying together? The product of 12. And what's the other part of my product? And the sum of. What does sum mean?
Addition.
Yep. X and 7.
So
Oh, there you go. Good symbols. is at most. You know what you're doing. Well done. All right. I wasn't planning on doing it this way, but just for maybe quickness, I'm going to do it this way. Number 1 should be x plus 9 equals 12. Again, using a couple of key words. What does sum mean?
Can't it be 9 x equals 27 less than?
In addition, the order doesn't matter, so yes, that could work. Sum means total, or what's the mathematical operation? Addition. Sum always goes with addition. And what does is almost always mean?
Equals.
Equals. Okay. Number 2, the quotient of 11 and y. So this would be 11 divided by y. You could put that in fraction form, or if you wanted to, you could do 11 divided by y. That works too. Either one. I'll just go with the first one because I wrote it down first. Either one works. Is at least 25. So is at least means this. Greater than or equal to. I was talking with some folks about that. Please don't talk when I'm talking. You good?
Yeah.
Thank you. When we use the words at least, we know what that means. If I said there are at least 10 hamburgers in my lunch bag, and then I told you later on that there was only 3 of them, you would say that makes no sense. Doesn't at least mean, at least 10 means 10 or bigger? It doesn't mean something smaller than 10. So when I see is at least, I'm going to write greater than or equal to. Again, just like, rojo means red. There's no confusion about that. Rojo just means red. The words is at least, the way we understand it in English, means greater than or equal to. So when you think about it, when you're learning Spanish or Italian or some other language, there's a lot of words you gotta do a lot of thinking, a lot of words to put together and figure out what these phrases mean for you. Math really is no different. Do you guys have any questions on 1 and 2? All right. So number 3, the product of 7 and b. Product means? That's right. So the product of 7 and b would just be 7 dot b or 7 parentheses b, 7 times b. This product of 7b decreased by 8. What does decreased by mean? Subtraction. So minus 8. Product of 7 and b minus 8. All right, number 4, the difference of the product of y and 4 and 1. I'll just write it out like this. It'd be 4y minus 1, or you could have y times 4 minus 1. That would also work. How are we doing, translating wise? Any questions? This is where you stop me and say, no, wait a minute. I thought it was this. Just the same way, if you were in a foreign country and you thought you were asking where the restaurant was, but when in reality you were asking where the bathroom is, right? You'd say, no. I wanted to know where the restaurant was. And somehow you got confused with bathroom, right? At this point, you would say, no, I thought it was this. I hope you will. Number 5, the product of 12 and the sum of x and 7 is at most 26. I think so far, this is the toughest one. Here's what it should look like. Got any questions on that? Anybody think that they were asking where the hamburgers were, but got pointed instead to the pasture where the cows are?
Where did I get B from?
On 5?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you're still thinking like number 3. It's possible maybe you glanced up there and saw the B. I don't know. Any other questions on 5? Right? Again, think of this as you walking through Italy, wondering where to find the little gondola rides in the canals, right? And instead you keep getting pointed to the car rental place. You got to be thinking, okay, something is getting lost in translation. Is something getting lost for you in translation? It might be my fault. Probably is. It might not be your fault at all. Anyways. Still doing okay? Okay. Number 6. 15 greater than the quotient of C and 9. I need to move this. A little bit easier to see.
7 is where I got the B.
That could be. That very well.
There's a B in that.
That could be the case. All right, so 15 greater than the quotient of C and 9. I would say that would be C divided by 9 plus 15. the quotient of c and 9, and we want 15 greater than that, 15 more than that. That's plus 15. All right?
So quotient means division.
Quotient means division. And, and of course, a fraction is a way to express division. So if somebody did this, and I saw plenty of folks that did stuff like this is completely fine. So Chase, I don't know if you did something like that. If you did, it's great. Okay, and then number 7, 23 less the sum of b and 8 is 6. Another challenging one. So 23 less the sum of b and 8 is 6. That's what we're looking at. If I just, again, think about the word less. If I said, how tall do you think I am? And you said 6 feet tall, and I said less. Would you guess 6'4"?
No.
No, you'd guess 5'10", 5'9", whatever. Okay. Questions? I'm trying to be your tour guide here, right? I'm trying not to lead you to the place you don't want to go. If you want to have some Italian food, I'm going to try to lead you there with good translation, right? Whatever you. Okay. We're good? Okay, so then let's move on to practice 2. See how this goes for you. Got these? Did you nail all those ones on the first one? Number 2. On to practice 2. This is going to work out really well for us. Not grading you, like if you guys were to say, actually, no,
Is it least
well, not good. 1 second. So,
And is multiplication.
no worries about that, right? We're here to learn.
No, because it's just the quotient on 12 and 1.
You nailed the other one, and I obviously saw you did it one. You say you doing all right? Are you a soccer player? Yeah, I hear you. Find something that works. Go with it.
W equals.
All right, so how is it translating going back here?
X.
Everybody expecting to get ice cream, and instead you got a
Equals
cookie?
E plus shut up.
Okay. 3, okay, so it says the weight, so it says when the weight W, it's trying to get you to say that W stands for weight. That make sense? Okay, so the weight W of the truck is the sum of the weight of the engine, which is represented by E.
The difference.
I don't think so. So notice it says, essentially, we'll try to cut out some of the extra words. Notice it says W is the sum. So what does the word is almost always mean? Yeah, so I would write W equals.
So it's P minus R.
The sum
What does and mean?
the weight of the engine and 12
What is and multiplication?
E.
It's the.
We got a plus in there, we got a plus in there. Yep, you got E plus 12. So again, like,
Just tell us.
I'm not saying this is easy, but I'm also saying
14 is
when you see a key word that says sum, realize there's going to be some kind of addition.
Which side is greater than
And then try to go with that. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. How's the translating going? You guys ready to be someone's math tour guide?
Whatever less than
Sunny?
the product of A.
All right. What about you, Doc? Got the last couple there?
It's A times.
Any questions so far?
Can you stop?
Gotcha.
Stop.
Translating going okay? I don't think and is multiply, like and could kind of mean more than one thing. It kind of depends on the words in front of it. So like I see, right before that I see it's the sum of the weight of the engine. So and is just going to join the two things that you're like multiplying together, the two things you're adding together, two things you're dividing, two things you're subtracting. It really is not going to carry its own meaning. I would look to the words before. Yeah, the sum of this and that means you're adding two things. But if the same way, if it said the difference of this and that, well, now we're subtracting. So the word and doesn't carry its own meaning typically. All right, a lot of folks are getting close to being done. Translating going okay? I know this class is right after lunch and your stomach is like, I need to sleep. I need to rest. Well, that's what my stomach's saying. I don't know what yours is. Julie, you doing okay?
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Try to catch up to you here.
Why do you get a
They're just stabbing.
Anybody think they know what number 1 would look like? Go ahead, Sasha.
5x minus 9.
5x minus 9. So this is where you get to share a little bit more. Sasha thinks number 1 looks like that translated. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Okay, so Ella is wondering x like this. I want to make sure I represent you correctly.
No, it's 5.
What do you guys? Well, let's at least talk about this. Let's decide if yours is right or wrong, or we don't know. What do y'all think? Hey, what do y'all think? Are those the same thing, or are they different?
Same thing.
They are the same thing. Yeah. So if you wrote like this is the customary way of writing it. We usually write the numerical coefficient and then the variable. But if you write x times 5 minus 9, that's perfectly okay. It's totally fine. Okay. Trevor, how about number 2? What did you get for the math there? Hey, guys, Mason, I need to be able to hear Trevor, so you all need to be quiet. Go ahead, Trevor.
12 over y, and then little arrow under the line
Which way does the arrow face?
towards the 26.
Like that?
And the line.
And a line, you said. So this is a great example of like terminology. So if I walked up to someone in Italy or something and in broken Italian I said, I need to find the place with like the sink and the toilet and the toilet paper, like that place. And they would respond with, you mean the bathroom? I'd be like, yeah, the bathroom. Isn't that kind of what Trevor did? I mean, he accurately described the symbol that he wanted me to write, didn't he? He told me which way the little arrow pointed, and then he said, and the line. What would be a more efficient way of saying that symbol? What do you think, Ellie?
Greater than or equal to?
That's correct. So that symbol always means greater than or equal to, and it's exactly what Trevor described. So he described it well. I would rather you go there, though. I'd rather you go to the greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, or whatever it is. I think that'd serve you a little bit better. Okay. Anybody think they know number 3? Number 3. How does that translate? Mason, go.
So W equals E plus 1200.
What do you think? Mason has translated that. Has he done it well? I'm hearing a lot of yeses.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have anything different? I think you're right, Mason. I mean, we could write that a little bit differently, but what you said, I think, is the natural translation. Looks real good. Okay. So we come up to number 4. The product of x and the quotient of 3 and 7 is y. Doc, what do you think about number 4?
Is it x parentheses 3 divided by 7 equals y?
I think did I accurately write that? Is that what you intended for me to write? Okay. What do y'all think? Is that a good translation, or has he directed us to the bad part of town when we wanted to go to the nice part of town? Is it good?
Yeah.
I think it's real good. Did anybody write this a little differently? What did you write?
I just wrote 3 over 7 x equals y.
Equals y?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just as good. That's great. Either one of them is 100% fine. Anybody write it a little bit differently than that? Okay, fair enough. So let's do our last couple here, numbers 5, 6, and 7. We'll finish a little bit differently than we normally finish. Number 5, the difference of 17 and the sum of x and 6. Sophia, what do you think?
Start at 17 minus, and then like in parentheses,
Okay, and I assume we close the parentheses at that point? Okay. What do you guys think? This is what Sophia thinks for number 5. She included parentheses, which may or may not make a difference. Do you think the parentheses need to be there? She made a point of saying the parentheses need to be there, so I wrote them. Do you think they have to be there? They have to be there. The parentheses absolutely must be there in order for this to be correctly translated. Because you're not subtracting 17 and x, you're subtracting 17 and a sum. The only way you can group them is with parentheses. So it's a good choice there. All right, number 6. The profit, P, is the difference of the revenue, R, and 600. Oliver, what are you thinking for 6? You haven't done that one yet? Anybody else done this one? Sydney, go.
Put R minus 600 equals P.
Okay. What do y'all think? Anybody do anything different?
I did P minus R times 600.
Okay. Anybody do anything different? I'm just writing things down as I hear them. Are those two expressions the same or different?
Oh, wrong.
Very, very different. Now, Mason is saying he thinks he did it wrong.
Yeah, because it says the difference of the revenue.
The other word I'm seeing that maybe, Mason, you didn't take into account is the word is. What does is very frequently mean? Equals, right? And yours didn't have an equals anywhere in there. So that would be a red flag for me, thinking something got lost there.
So P equals R minus 600.
Yep. If you wanted to write it in the other order, that means the exact same thing. Totally fine. So I'd say this one was not so good. Either one of those other two would be 100% fine. Okay. Number 7. Anybody want to offer their answer up on number 7? Share it with the group. Bree, you got it?
Yeah.
What you got?
14 and then the less than symbol with 8 and then in parentheses y minus 5 in parentheses.
Okay. Did I get that copy done correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. What do y'all think of Bree's translation? Did she translate it well? Did we ask for ice cream and instead we get handed ketchup? Not the same, by the way. What do you think? Is that a good translation? 14 is less than, so I would say 14 obviously is good. That does mean is less than. That's the right symbol there. The product, so we're talking about multiplication, the product of 8, and then this difference of y and 5. I think it's a beautiful translation. It's well done. Well done. We asked for ice cream and we got ice cream. It's good. I wish I had some. I really wish I did. Okay. We're going to leave the practice 3 alone for now. We maybe come back to that later on if we need to. But for now, what I'd like to do is something that we'll occasionally do. We've got roughly 10 minutes left. I would like to give you a chance to start on your website. So if you want to, you can go grab your phone. You should be able to access website through your phone. If you don't know how to do that, let's talk about that. You can actually access website right through your phone. Or if you've got a computer, you can grab that too. I want to give you a chance to get started on that and make your night a little bit easier if possible.
Sydney.